Probably like many of you, I've just been hearing of churches, church after church after church, all across the country, packed yesterday. And I'm sure many of you experienced that, many of you who attended church services yesterday. And I'm sure you also, many of you at least, heard your pastors share from the heart about the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And the effect, obviously, on our nation has been profound. But I think most powerfully impacted has been the Christian community. And thankfully, we know from God's word that the Lord is able to take that which the enemy meant for evil, and God can turn it around and use it powerfully for good. In fact, I believe that is already underway. So what can we make of what we're seeing so far in all of this? Well, joining me now to discuss this is Pastor Joe McTarsney of Calvary Montclair in California, and he is a member of Family Research Council's Association of Churches and Ministry. Pastor Joe, welcome to Washington Watch. It's great to have you.
Thank you, Jody, for having me.
Well, let's start with this. As I was just mentioning, many churches yesterday, and I'm sure you did as well. Can you just share with our viewers and listeners a little bit about what you shared from the pulpit yesterday to your church congregation?
I sure will. Yesterday, I shared how I was deeply internally impacted because of Charlie Kirk. I would say that it was because of his life that I was infused with courage. And Charlie came to our church and spoke on Father's Day. And my wife and I, as I shared yesterday at church, we had the opportunity to attend his pastors' summits, which are available to all pastors across this nation. And we went, and Jody, we were equipped, we were encouraged, and Charlie never asked for a dime for anything. And it was through Charlie and his ministry that we were awakened to the call to go to the public square and speak biblical truth in a world that's filled with confusion and darkness. I can say also, and I shared this yesterday, it was due to Charlie's ministry that we started to attend school board meetings, city council meetings, even flew out to our state capital, Sacramento, to speak biblical truth. And he really shaped me and was used by the Lord to awaken a lion that I didn't even know existed, and to have God's call to be a conscience to other people, especially those that are in public office. And so I deeply respect Charlie's life, and he's a man like no other, a man of courage, a man of conviction, a man that spoke the truth, not only in the confines of a church environment, but he went literally to the public squares, to the universities where young minds were being shaped by professors, and he challenged what they were learning. And Charlie did it in such a way that he was mocked and he was cursed at, but he gave grace and he gave truth to others. It reminded me of the book of what First Peter says, and First Peter 3:15 says, always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that's in you with gentleness and with respect. That's exactly what Charlie Kirk did.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a powerful, powerful testimony, Pastor, and I appreciate that. They're still, I guess, trying to determine the motive, but when all is said and done, this shooter wanted to silence Charlie Kirk. And in silencing one, he has released thousands, such as yourself, lion in heart, coming out boldly with biblical courage to speak and to go into the public square. Don't you see that happening literally, not just in churches, but across our country and even around the world right now?
Yes, indeed, Jody. He has the shooter. And we know this, we don't wrestle against flesh and blood. We wrestle against principalities, powers, and forces of the darkness. And so we know this is a spiritual battle. And Charlie was one that went out to share the truth. Now, because of this and how I see God is redeeming this, I just see there's thousands upon thousands of young Charlie Kirks. They're going to rise up to their call and take the gospel forward. I see they're not going to be ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ, like Paul said in Romans chapter 1, verse 16. I see they're going to go into their campuses, into their communities, and share the truth of Jesus. There's a verse that the Lord has spoken to me when this tragedy, when there's murder, and really now Charlie is a martyr. This verse is found in John chapter 12, verse 24. And Jesus says, unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. There's a lot of fruit that's going to be taking place now. I see young people not being ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. They're going to speak the word with clarity and with love and kindness and truth, just like Charlie Kirk did. And young people needed a role model. Jody, Charlie Kirk had the ear of Generation Z. He had their ear, and he woke something up in all those lives, even those that disagreed with him.
Absolutely. Pastor Joe McTarsney, I want to thank you so much for joining us and a powerful testimony from your experience, and I couldn't agree with you more. In fact, there's been over 32,000 requests for new Turning Point USA chapters across the country. Absolutely stunning. Pastor, thank you so much for joining us today. God bless you. Keep the torch ablaze.